good night, good day, whenever you're watching this. Today is day 3 of our CSEC English A and B countdown, and as you can see before you, I have a copy of the January 2016 English B exam paper. Now, this copy was downloaded from CSEC, and let me ensure I have it correct, from csectutor.blogspot.com, and you can get additional past papers from there, so you can remember csectutor.blogspot.com. All right, so let's begin. Now, as you can see, or by now your teacher would have said to you that your exam will be marked online. So when you enter the exam room, you're going to get a booklet, and you're going to do everything in your booklet. So when you look at your paper, this will be the cover of your paper, right? And so you see the type of exam, Caribbean Secondary Certificate, Education Certificate exam. It tells you the subject, English B, and this is paper 2. The exam is 2 hours and 10 minutes. Now, one thing you have to understand about sitting the exam is that once you read the instructions on the paper, you should not have a problem. So the paper says this paper consists of 12 questions arranged in 3 sections. So as you know, for English B, the section A is drama, section B is poetry, and section C, prose fiction. And when we talk about prose fiction, we talk about the novel and we talk about the short story. Now you're going to answer one question from each section. I want you to note that sections A and C, you have 4 questions, and at this point I'm talking about the 2017 CSEC examination. For the students who are going to be doing the exam in 2018, the layout of your paper is going to be a little different. Okay, let's continue. So from the drama section, you have 2 questions based on Shakespeare, 2 questions based on the modern drama, and in this case the modern drama is The Lion and the Jewel. And then 2 questions based on the novels and 2 questions based on short story. Now I'm going to scroll down. As I said, please note 3, you must write in essay format. So whereas students are known, or I've seen students writing A, B, C, D in your exam booklet, no. You should be writing in free-flowing essay format. Paragraphs, essay, right? Write your answers in the space provided in the booklet, and it says do not write in the margin. And as I said before, the exam is going to be scanned, uploaded, and marked online. If you do write in the margins, chances are your information might not be displayed in the right way for you to get the grade that you need. I hope I'm explaining myself properly. So please write in the areas and notice the paper on the paper here and here, and there's one at the top of the page on the next page that tells you the area that you're supposed to write your exam in. All right, and it says you are advised to take some time to read through the paper. And let me scroll up just to remind you of something. The exam is 2 hours and 10 minutes, and normally I would suggest that you use the 10 minutes of your time to read through the paper. And as you read through the paper, tick and make any notations in pencil beside your book of what is it you're going to do. Anything that jump, just go ahead, read through and tick. All right, so let's go. So drama, answer one question. As I said, once you read the exam paper correctly, you should not make any mistakes. So at the top, it tells you that 25 marks is for content and 10 marks is allotted for the structure, the development, and the grammar, right? So structure meaning free flowing paragraphs. This means you include your transitional words and phrases, your also, your therefore, your whereas, additionally, consequently, all of these things you include. That will add to your overall structure and development. Check, I would recommend checking when you write a lot sometime at the end of the exam to double check what you have written, so that will help you to maximize your points for, or your marks rather, for grammar and mechanics, or mechanics of writing. Additionally, please, and I've said it before, when you're answering your questions, do not write A, B, C. The marker will automatically know what you're talking about or what you're answering based on your arguments that you're presented. I think I'm going to post another video as to how to go ahead to answer the essay questions. Now, this is just an overview of the paper. So as I said before, you have Julius Caesar, and notice the either and the or. So it's saying to you, you can choose question 1 or question 2. And notice the marks are there, so you have an idea of what the mark scheme is. So you know that, okay, this is valued more marks than this exam, etc., etc. Moving right along. Then on the second page, page 5, you have the line and the drill. As I said before, everything on the paper is labeled and it has or. So you can either choose question 1, question 2, or question 3, or question 4. And you have a choice and you choose, and this is the complete section of section A for drama, and you choose, as I said before, one question from this section. Scrolling down. Now, after you've selected your one question, you write, for example, say you have selected question 4, then you write question 4 right here. And notice you write on the lines provided. Do not write outside of that in the margins. Notice here, right along here. And please write as clear as possible so that when your exam and you continue. And as I've said before, you get paper to write it's a booklet, and you get additional paper. Please ensure that if you're going to, for example, in the section provided, say you have 2 sheets provided, and I think it's more than 2, but you have 2 sheets provided, and you need additional sheets. At the back of the booklet, there are additional sheets. Please put a notation at the end of the page to say C, page, whatever, so that when the examiner is marking your work, they can go now to the back of the booklet electronically to see the end of your essay. All right, next section, poetry. Now for poetry, all the poems that are out of the 20 poems, the questions are based from the 20 poems out of the syllabus. Now, you have one question, question 5, where you're given the poems. And then for question 6, you're not given the poems. Oftentimes you're given a theme. And based on the theme, you should select the 2 poems. Remember that poetry is different from prose, the short stories. So when you're selecting your poems, please ensure you have a clear distinction in your mind as to what are poems and what are short stories. Because, for example, if you use short story, for example, Berry is a short story. If you use a short story, or Shabin is a short story, if you use a short story to answer a poetry question, the allotment of marks, you wouldn't necessarily get any mark for that, for the content, because you're not using a poem to answer. So please make the distinction between the poems and the short story, and you can refer to the blog. I'm going to post the link below of the list of poems and the list of short stories. Alright, as I said, for this video, we're not going to go in depth in terms of answering the questions. I'm going to do that in another video. So if you want me to go ahead and go through how to answer the questions, just like this video and I will definitely do that. Now, Frangipangi house, or in Jamaica, some people say Frangipangi house. That's one of the novels that students are doing. And the other novel is Things Fall Apart. So at the beginning, I'm going to make a correction to my statement. At the beginning, I said it's 4 prose questions. I'm sorry. In total, it's 6. So you have 2 questions based on Frangipangi, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, and 2 questions based on Things Fall Apart, and you have 2 short story questions. Now, this is where a lot of students become confused, because in this prose section, you have so many options. You pick, you choose, you refuse, and in some cases, you pick, I don't want to say foolishness, but you pick something that is more challenging, or a question that might not necessarily be a right question for you. Remember, the easiest question on the paper is the question that you are able to do sufficiently. So what might be easy for somebody else might not be easy for you. So when we talk about the easiest question on the paper, we're talking about the questions that you can adequately answer. And remember, you should be able to develop your argument. It's not about retelling the story. It's about presenting your arguments, developing your arguments with information from the story, meaning your pieces of evidence from the sequence of events or about the setting, whatever it may be. So, as I said before, in this section you have 6 questions, and once again you choose one. So you have 2 questions from Frangipanio. Guys, I know I'm not pronouncing it correctly, so please do not kill me. And then you have Things Fall Apart, 2 questions, and then once again you have you get the 2 stories, or you get a theme and you choose your 2 stories. Now, you have to be strategic when it comes to prose, because let me tell you why. Sorry, some persons, they absolutely love Things Fall Apart, and they know about the story, and they know about the tragic flaw, and they know about the African society, and they know about the physical, the emotional environment, all of that. Fine. If that is what you want to do, no problem. But my suggestion is, do not go into the exam saying that I'm only going to do Things Fall Apart, or I'm only going to do Frangipani House, or I'm only going to do short stories, because chances are there are times when the questions that you decide that you're going to only do these types of questions, when you go into the exam, you realize that these types of questions are actually more difficult than the other questions that are on the paper. So I would recommend you prepare for to do any question on the paper. But ensure that when you go, you look at the question that is the most manageable for you. So although you prefer Things Fall Apart because you love the protagonist, when you go in the exam, you might find out that, wow, it's actually Frangipani House that really I can find a lot of information to write about. So you write on that. And remember, guys, to double check, leave space to answer the questions, read all the instructions in your booklet. Remember, you're supposed to use your essay structure. Also, in total, 3 questions from the paper 2. 1 question from the drama, 1 question from poetry, and 1 question from prose. And as I've said before, do not decide what you're going to do in terms of saying, oh, I'm only going to do line and the drill. And you might go in the exam, and the questions that are based on the line and the drill are far more difficult than the Julius Caesar questions. And the teacher went over both texts, but because you did not pay attention, you could not answer any of the questions. So I want to wish you a good luck. I hope the CSEC English A and B countdown on the blog has been very helpful for you. Remember, we need your help, we need your support. So if you come to the blog and you're viewing and you see an advertisement that you're interested about, don't forget to click. Also, if you want me to go through how to answer the drama or the poetry or the prose, like below. Have a great day, a great night, and thank you very much for stopping by. Bye bye.